All right. As much as I would just love to fish nonstop, I recently purchased my largest upgrade so far to the kayak, and I bought a fish finder. I went with the Hummingbird Helix 7. I got it at a steal. All right. So I have obviously been going down the YouTube University hole and seeing if there's anybody else with a Hobie compass that has installed a Hummingbird Helix. And I found a few videos and they were informational. I just think I could do better, honestly. This is not my first fish finder that I've installed. It's generally all the same. I was just trying to get like a little bit of a warm and fuzzy with it. And since I've seen all the Hobie Compass videos with fish finder installs, I'm just going to give my own shot at it. Nothing fancy here. No crazy editing. Just me installing this fish finder. Let's get after it. All right, so first off here, my Hobie is obviously flipped upside down. And here we have the Hobie Lowrance Ready Transducer cover. Now, this cover is meant for Lowrance transducers, but since I went with a Hummingbird, I cannot use this plate. Now, the reason I can't use this plate is because I have SI, which is side imaging, on my Hummingbird. And because I have side imaging, the transducer actually needs to sit a little bit below the hull in order to work. So the way this plate is fixed to the kayak, it is not meant for side imaging capabilities the way it sits here. So I'm gonna have to remove this. And I'm gonna have to remove this, and I already went and bought a replacement. So this is the old Lowrance Ready transducer plate. I went ahead and bought from Burley Pro. They made a Hummingbird Ready transducer mount. All right, so it's this really durable and hard plastic, and here is my transducer. So all I'm going to do is put the transducer in here, put the brackets on, and then I should be able to run these wires down. All right, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see the orientation of the transducer. All right, which means it's going to sit just like that. And then with these brackets, the rounded part goes in the rear, and the part that is cut with an arrow goes in front. All right. So that is how that looks. Transducer mounted, bracket tightened. I'm happy with that. All right, so now I'm gonna come back over here, and I'm going to drop this wire down and then mount the plate. And now, once it's screwed in, now you can see the transducer sits below the hole, so side scan will work. All right. All right. The easy part is done. Now I gotta flip the kayak back over, but now I gotta take the drill and cut some holes in this bad boy. 2 holes, all right? The first hole is going to be for the wire that I just dropped down through the transducer hole. I have to drill a hole so that I can push that wire back inside the kayak into the hole, all right? Because now it's gonna run into the hole and then closer to the fish finder and then out the wall of the kayak and in to the fish finder. All right, let's hope this thing flips over pretty easily. All right, that was actually pretty smooth. Now, if you're wondering what size hole I'm about to drill here, well, I got the Wilderness Systems wire through hole kit. All right, through hole wiring kit. And so pretty much what this does is whenever I drill holes into the kayak, I fill it with these so I can run my wires out, and this makes it watertight. That first hole I was talking about drilling this is coming from the transducer, from the hole that's already there, right? This is where my seat is, this is where my feet go, all right? Now I have to drill a hole so that this wire goes through and back inside of the kayak. Now, Hobie, because they're so great, hooked it up, and they pretty much made it error-proof, all right? You see that little indentation right there? That is where you're gonna cut your hole. You're gonna put the drill bit there to cut your hole. So, nice and slow, I'm just gonna put that drill bit right on this hole here. Make sure it's there, and I'm just gonna drill very, very, very slow. All right. First hole is drilled. Now, this transducer is going to go back in there, and that is going to put me inside of the kayak. Here's an easy thing to forget real quick. So this Wilderness System through hole wiring kit comes with a lot of adapters, all right? And so you can run a single wire or a dual wire like I showed you earlier. You just need to match up which hole fits best for your wire. And this one, there's like small little slits. So I'm gonna see right now if this is too big. That's too big. This one looked too small at first glance, but it's probably gonna be perfect size. If there was a smaller one, I'd go with a smaller one personally, but oh, there's a smaller one. Nope, same size. All right. So something that might be easy to forget is whenever this plug goes in, this O-ring needs to sit underneath this plug. So what does that mean? And whenever you run this wire through here, you got to slip this on first in order for this to sit in here. All right. Got to take the O-ring, and I'm going to push it through this wire here, and then I'm just going to feed this into the hole. So now the transducer wire is coming out, and that is like this. So now I'm going to put this plug and this rubber adapter onto the wire. Just like so. Now this plug, and this is dummy proof. It's shaped one way, just like this is. So slipping in from the bottom, it's very easy. Slides up. Now that's here, this slides into the hole, and it sits on top of that O-ring. Don't forget that O-ring, because you can't put the O-ring on the bottom, because plastic on plastic does not make a tight seal. Now it's not waterproof, but it is water resistant. All right. Put the ring through here. All right, now that's there. Perfect. First hole was successfully plugged. So now I have the transducer, the wire is going back into the hole. Now I need to set up the actual screen for the fish finder, and then I'll show you what it looks like to run it out. I'm about to drill a hole in the side here in order to run my wire out and plug in to my fish finder. I want the fish finder on my right side, and if I end up regretting it later, so be it. All right. And what I'm going to do is here, this little notch is where it's telling me it's okay to drill. Now, obviously, the 1 3/8 hole saw is a little bit bigger than that, right? So since it's bigger than that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go diagonal from it, and I'm going to go towards the sticker diagonally until the hole saw clears a full 360. Now, careful, the rudder cable is over here, but the rudder cable runs right here on the concave, all right? This is where it runs, all right? So don't go anywhere near this, all right? And we're going to send this right there. Nice and slow. All right, nailed it. So now that I got that hole drilled, I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with the other plug, except this time I'm going to run this wire through. I'm going to mount the fish finder, and I'm also going to run the power cable through there as well. So now that I have that hole drilled on the side, I'm going to run my power through that hole, and then I'm going to run the transducer through that hole as well, and then they'll be able to plug into the head unit that I have mounted here. Don't forget, whenever you're sliding these through, you got to push the rubber O-ring through them both, all right? Before I run this, I'm going to run my rings. Remember, this is going to screw on underneath, so I'll run both of them like this, and then once they come through here, then I'll run them through the ring. So I'm fishing them out as such, and now I'll put this ring over them, just like that. Gonna leave myself some room with the wires. I'm gonna set the fish finder up so I know exactly how much space. Alright, so I have that tightened up. That way I can do some good wire management here. I'll make sure I have enough that can pull and reach all the way over to the fish finder screen. That plugs in there. This goes right here. So now that those can plug in, that leaves me enough wire there. Now I can start on the waterproof plug. Now this one, it's different because this one has 2 holes, all right, meant for the wires. And actually, I think there's a better option here. Yep. So this one has 2 different size holes. This one has 2 of the same size holes. I'm gonna use this one because I think the transducer cord is a little thicker, and it is. So take the transducer cord, slip it on here. I'm gonna take the power cord, slip it there. Boom, we're good. We're plugged in. Give myself a little bit of slack. Now we're ready for this. Make sure the O-ring is tight. Just pushing that rubber piece through here. Make sure there's a good connection. Boom. That's in. All right. Got that screwed in place. You can see it. looks like there. Now, the moment of truth. Now, hopefully, this works. Hey, it's working. It's working. Nailed it. These Hobies. Sometimes they're a little wet inside, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to figure out my wire management and make sure it's all extremely nice and neat inside of the hole. And that's it. That's it. We got ourselves a fish finder, fully logged up, ready to go on the next trip. Like I said, straight to the point with this video. Unnecessary to do all this crazy editing and stuff like that. I just want to give you guys, a close-up on what exactly this looked like. Again, this is a 2022 Hobie compass, and I just installed the Helix 7 from Hummingbird on a static. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. If you like what you see, subscribe, give me a like, whatever, do whatever you want. I'm not going anywhere. Appreciate you guys. Peace.